Super excited to have our special guest, the Botyguard, Katy Boungard, and she's going to be one of the Voicefluencers on the upcoming The Voice Den, and I'm super excited to have her join us there. So, without any further ado, let's bring up Katy. Katy, it is great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Teri. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. We're going to bring in the co-host as well, Ian, in just a moment. But for now, Katy, like I said, I'm super excited to have you as part of the Voice Den coming up on June 23rd. We want to learn more about you, what people can learn from you during that episode, and all that fun stuff. So first of all, maybe I can get you to give a little intro to yourself. Who are you? What's your story?
Absolutely. So hi, everyone. I'm Katy Boungard. I'm a content designer and producer for voice. And my background is also in television and digital. So I'm bringing all of that into conversational design. And the last year, I've fully transitioned and have been freelancing full-time in designing and building and producing voice experiences. So it's allowed me to work on a ton of different projects and with a ton of different teams. And I'm excited to share more about some of the stuff I've been up to.
That is awesome. Super excited to hear. Now, you have developed a little bit of fame, I'll say, shall we, from something that happened with one of your particular Alexa skills. And I'd love to hear a little bit of the story about that and that skill. Tell us a little bit about it and the experience, because I think it's a great story, and congratulations to you. And while you're doing that, we'll bring Ian in here as well, and then he can jump into the conversation as well.
Cool. So yeah, I believe you're referring to Art Museum.
That's right.
Although all of this experiences I've produced, I still am the biggest fan of and the biggest cheerleader for. So Art Museum, though, was built with Alexa Conversations, and it was part of the DevPost hackathon to Alexa Conversations at the time was still in beta. So my partner and I, John G., developed and designed and produced the entire end-to-end experience. And we actually placed first. We won the grand prize for this challenge. And yeah, it was using the Art Institute of Chicago's public API. And there was a lot of work and blood, sweat, and tears that went into building it and kind of figuring out how to build in this new AI dialogue manager from Alexa. And yeah, I could go on and on. So, you know, feel free to stop me, but so proud of the experience and would love for everyone here to check it out. It basically allows you to explore an art museum with your voice and using natural language. So as simple as show me a painting with nature, or show me a sculpture from Italy. And yeah, we designed the whole experience to be very natural, like I had said. And so as soon as you ask for that, you're dropped into a piece of art from the museum. And it's accompanied by the actual in-tour audio guide. Like normally you'd have to wear like the headset and walk around and turn, you know, they give you like a little device to hear more about the piece. So this allows you to bring it right up on your Alexa device. And the coolest part about it was this was built in the last year when a lot of art museums were closed. So it felt like a really important project to do during this past year we've been all going through, to bring some more art into the home as well. So yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, it sounds great. I was saying to you, Katy, that like one of the challenges is the international availability of it, and because I'm in Canada, I haven't really had a chance to fully experience it, which is a shame. But
I know. Such a bummer.
But I'll have to. I'm gonna have to get my hands on like a device or program one to be in the United States so that I can check it out. But Ian, I want to bring you in here as well. This is a boy. Congratulations, Katy. And then let's get Ian in here and get some of his thoughts. Thank you.
Hi, Ian.
Hi. Well, thanks for being here with us on the Voicefluencer Show. Join us at the Voice Den. We're happy to have you. There's a lot of things that you've done, so I'm like bubbling forth with questions. So let me stick with what you just talked about. It seems like what you did for this Art Institute is really relevant for where things are going. So for instance, I can imagine what you've done for the Art Institute being done not just this year, but for decades because of things like the Metaverse, right? People are creating these whole entire worlds, these digital worlds. And so when I think about one of the problems with these Metaverse worlds is how do you navigate? Where do you go? How, if you're looking for something, and so that would be a really amazing enhancement to what's being built. Or my friends at SIO have been taking the Roberto Clemente Museum, all of his artifacts, and getting them all from all the museums into basically the Metaverse. And so I was thinking like, wow, it'd be so cool to take what you've built and bring that to the SIO team, regardless if it's just a service or a product, or they could just learn from you. So if people like the folks using tech for the Roberto Clemente Museum, if they want to do something similar, are you available to help other people with projects as a consultant, or is there a platform or a service that's made available to where others that have other museums can say, she did that with her team, like, we need that. So how might somebody engage with you for this type of work?
I appreciate that. And I will say, yes, I am freelance. So I am very available to connect and consult, and excited to do so, especially on these types of projects. And yeah, to kind of just quickly touch on your question, there's so much thinking about these experiences. As we know, building conversation design and developing these experiences is difficult, right? It's like, and so one of the first questions we asked when we were building this was, and I'm fortunate I was able to go to the Art Institute previously, so I had that. I have been there, I've walked around, I've spent hours there actually. So the first question we asked was, are we going to replicate the experience as if you're in the museum? And we quickly realized that it's so limiting to do that, because the beauty of voice and experience things virtually is having the flexibility to go from one end of the museum to the other. So I love talking about this, and that's one thing I would kind of recommend for anyone in the art world, or, looking to expand their presence across digital platforms or virtually, is how can you do so and lean into the flexibility that these devices and these experiences offer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And for these types of experiences, what's your vision of where this can go? If the way things were done and if what you've built is like a bridge where things are going, what's in your imagination, how might things like these museum engagements, these experiences that people can have, even though they're not there, where do you see things going as tech gets better and as people get smarter, and how to develop these things?
Ooh, what a loaded question. I love it though. I have a really big imagination. Actually, growing up, my dream was to always work at Disney. And then the first 7 years of my career were working at Disney.
Wow.
So,
were you an Imagineer?
Oh my gosh, I think that's like my dream job one day.
Right,
but I actually worked in television. So I started at Disney Channel and then worked at ESPN for a few years. And it was more on the marketing side. And then I transitioned into content development. But to answer your question a little bit, so not just with like, what was I going to say? Okay. Sorry, I'm going in like a million different directions.
It's all good.
So I see, and the reason, this is why I love working in voice technology and creating content, because I want anything that has technology in it to be able to talk to me. Like, I just want to have a conversation instead of clicking and tapping and scrolling. And so that's like the dream to me, is just to make everything much more fluid and seamless. And I think it also is like serving the user experience a lot better. And that's why, conversation designers exist and work with developers and make these experiences happen to enable better user experiences at the end of the day and to reach audiences and communicate the messaging and how to make their lives better. And yeah, I could go on and on. So I'll pause there.
It's great. It's great. I want to be respectful of your time. We have a few more minutes here, but I know there's another thing that you're doing more recently that I know you're excited about, and I'd love for you to share so that people can learn a little bit about your Twitch stream. So tell us a little bit about that, how that started, why you're doing that, and all the fun stuff involved with that.
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking, Teri. I'm so excited about this. So I guess this all started because I was working with a startup called Piffle that was in the Google Voice AI Accelerator program. And I was so fortunate to be a part of this program. And it just wrapped up a few weeks ago. But Piffle, and you should definitely check them out as well. The goal of Piffle is to create social games for the workplace. So very inspired with a people-first culture and making work more fun with your team. So as I started working with Piffle and thinking about this, I realized how many voice games existed just on Alexa too. There's hundreds. And so, I started playing a lot, and then I realized there's so many moments to analyze from a conversation design and development perspective. And I was like, it's a bummer that I'm not capturing all of this. And then I was like, oh, wait, I can do that. So my background, like I had mentioned, is working with digital creators and brands and pairing them to create campaigns for social media. So basically influencer marketing, but I worked in branded content for a number of years. With that in my background, I'm a huge fan of Twitch, and it's a big gaming platform primarily. And so I've looked around and I didn't see anyone playing voice games. So I just saw this opportunity, and it's my 8th stream this Friday. I stream every Friday afternoon from around 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time, although it's flexible. Sometimes I've gone until 5:30 p.m. because I just get on a roll with the voice games. So yeah, I'm working my way through, and I've learned so much, and it's also a ton of fun. So yeah.
Awesome. So how can people find that if they want to join you? Is there
Yeah. So it's twitch.tv, and my username is KatyB0. KatyB0.
KatyB0. All right, got it. When we put this on the website with the show notes, we'll have to include that. So that's great.
Yes, please.
Fantastic. Ian, any other questions from you before we start to wrap things up here? Any other questions, comments?
So I've been having conversations with folks that work at car manufacturers in the voice industry. And one of the big things that we've been talking about is turning content consumers that drive cars into content creators, because then you could unlock a bunch of potential in terms of people creating content and creating value. How might you imagine games, voice games, being part of that unlock? How could you fathom that people go from just consuming radio or just consuming a game to where potentially they start playing games and they become voice gamers? Do you imagine a world where people are voice creators? You're using Twitch to create something that's video of you playing, but tell me a bit about where things might go in that regard, please.
I would love to see a world where there's a ton of voice gamers on Twitch. I think it's so interesting, this past year especially, there's such a movement to anyone can be a creator, from TikTok to Twitch to Instagram stories to Twitter, LinkedIn, Clubhouse. Literally every single platform is just inviting people to come on and make content. And it's such an exciting time. So I am a firm believer in everyone should explore and make content, and you get to know the platform better. You get to know audiences better, whether you're trying to reach audiences or just build a community. I have to shout out to Women in Voice also. I actually have my little mug here.
Nice.
So I worked closely with Women in Voice. This is going a little off your question, but I think community and props to you both, because you've built an amazing community here with the Voice Den as well. And I think Voice is such a great example of it, right? Like, I've found community with Women in Voice, and I'm so grateful for that. And I think it's what inspired me to take the plunge and go full time into voice design and producing. So I don't know if that entirely answered your question, but I'm a huge fan of content creation, and hope that, even my small Twitch stream that I hope will continue to carry on and grow inspires other people to do it too. So yeah.
That's wonderful. So Kate, go ahead, Ian. You had a follow up there, Ian?
You go ahead, Teri.
Okay. Wonderful. So Katie, I do want to finish up with a question I'd like to ask people. You're going to be one of the Voicefluencers on June 23rd. The show's at 5 o'clock Pacific at thevoiceden.com. And the audience is going to get a chance to chat with you, somebody who's got all this great experience now with voice design. What are the questions, like what's your sweet spot essentially? What are the questions that you would like the most to field from the audience? What sort of topics are you most passionate and enjoy speaking about, and you can really help people and educate people and give tips about that particular area of voice tech?
Such a great question, and thank you for asking this, Teri. I would say well, I think there's a huge opportunity, and this is kind of where my niche is, to bring more creativity into voice. And it's something I've been working in for a while now. And it's related to my name, actually, the Botyguard. And I think in my bio, I even put to protect and defend the creativity of bots, brands, and creators. Because coming from my background, working with brands and also working with creators and finding that middle ground of how can this still be authentic and reach audiences with their message. It's so important to have that creative energy and that creative spirit underlying it. And I feel the same way about bots or voice assistants or, conversational design. Keep the creativity flowing. So that's one of my passion areas. And then also I would say the bridge between designers and developers. I've been really fortunate to work in a two-man team, just me, or two-woman team, just me and a developer in some cases. And, that relationship building is so important for the execution and the final product. So I love to talk about the process of the handoff or the handshake I read recently between designers and developers is the most important piece of the puzzle in order to build the absolute best experience possible.
Amazing. That's so wonderful. And you've got such a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure that there'll be lots of questions about that. I'm really, from a personal perspective, I'm very intrigued by the creativity aspect, because I love it when you can be creative and see that creativity on display. So that's really cool from my personal perspective. Awesome, love it. Ian, I think we're gonna wrap up. Any final comments from you before we allow Katie to share?
With us and shared. So inspiring what you've done, and I think the two of us, Teri and I, and the voice community will be very expectant in terms of what you'll be developing next and the types of projects you work on, and how you'll continue to inspire voice designers and game designers and live streamers and creators. So high 10.
There you go. Awesome.
Right back at you.
Katie, where can people go to learn more about what you're doing or follow along with what you've got on the go?
Yeah, I'm on every platform. Funny enough, my username is different on each because I just like to keep it authentic and changing to keep people guessing. I would say Twitch is a great place. That links out to everything. And on Twitch, I'm Katy B0.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Katie. It's a pleasure to have you here. And again,
thank you both.
Thank you for joining us for the Voicefluencer Show with Katy. Katy is amazing, and she's she's already done some incredible things, but I'm sure we're gonna, as Ian said, see more and more incredible things from Katy. So thank you, Katy, for being here with us. Really appreciate that, and we look forward to seeing you and everybody else on the Voice Den June 23rd. All the information is at thevoiceden.com. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again soon.